So the review and approval of our previous meeting minutes, did everybody take a look at them? Does anybody have any objections?
No.
No objections.
All right, so we're cool with that. So we'll say that those are passed. Number 2 on our list is a town council update. And how do we know who's the primary person on the screen? I'm looking at Joy with the thing. Does it mess around?
The yellow box is,
Oh, that's who's primary?
well, that's who's, it
We're talking.
auto focuses.
Okay, cool. All right, so we've got Joy, it auto focuses. So like as I talk, should I be doing something to get the camera to go on me here?
No, it's on you. I can see you.
I see you.
I see the yellow box on Joy. All right, we'll just keep going. We'll see how this comes out.
The yellow box goes around whoever's talking.
Okay, so like right now, as I'm talking, I should have a yellow box, but I see a yellow box around you. So that's weird, but that's okay. I'll just keep going.
Okay.
So the town council update, I've sent everything off to the town council and, hoping to be scheduled at a future meeting.
Mhm.
They've got everything. They've got all the forms. They've got everything that we did last month. I received acknowledgement that they did receive the package, but we haven't been put on the agenda yet. My guess is that there's a lot to do with town meeting going on right now, and they're scheduling it for Saturday and trying to do space. So I'm sure everybody's busy. I'm sure they will get to us at some point. But the important part is that, our updating and being efficient and on time is done and has been submitted. So whenever I hear back from them, we'll move forward and do an update. So that's what I have on number 2, the town council update. Number 3, the bathroom update. I don't know if we talked about this last time, but we were waiting for the general contractor to finish doing the subway tile to fix the trim tile. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was talking to him and he was on a job and he got exposed, he potentially was exposed to COVID. So he told me he couldn't come for 2 weeks. It came back up. Chase. What's that?
I said convenient.
Yeah. So he, came back and he came back from that and I, followed him around for, a week's worth of, tomorrow. And then he sent me a text and told me that he was laid off from the general contractor and would no longer be doing any more work. So he didn't do the tile. He didn't finish the job. I haven't heard from anybody. I actually asked him for his key because he said, "Hey, I got laid off this morning." And I said, "Okay, all right. I'm sad. That's terrible. And, I'm sorry to hear about that." And then later I asked him for his key and he said he'd given it back weeks ago. And which seemed a little bit weird to me. But
who did he give it back to?
James Ioshawa.
Okay.
But I just thought it was odd that if he was planning on doing work and he was going to finish tile and had been telling me from, we're going to finish, to all of a sudden tell me that he got laid off that morning and wasn't going to finish. I haven't heard from anybody at the DPW. Or James. I went in and verified the materials are still there, so it's still sitting there. Not the last part's not finished. We reluctantly accepted the doors, which we really didn't accept because they weren't of the proper quality, and so we're hoping for this. I don't know. I don't know what I could tell the guy who told me got laid off. So obviously, that sort of ends that conversation, and we need to have a conversation with DPW about what's going on. There's some other things going on. So I think that's going to be part of, as much as, we want this, it's a thing to be done. It's a couple hours worth of work. As much as we want it to be done, I think we need to have, more conversations with DPW about some other things and just about communication and how that all goes. So right now we're sitting with, essentially incomplete bathrooms. I'd like them to be complete, but that last bit of tile isn't done. The guy got laid off. So I'm assuming someone from DPW is either going to do it or call the contractor back to finish it to the spec.
And I'm thinking that this is the kind of thing that when we do eventually get to the town council,
yeah,
this is the kind of thing that we need to mention that it's an inferior tile job. And oh, by the way, all of this stuff just kind of fell down. Because moving forward, like, I mean, it's an okay job. It's not a great job.
I agree.
Okay.
I definitely think the quality, and there's definitely been quality issues with the contractor. And from a higher level perspective, there's been supervision issues. They weren't supervised. They were given a key, and we had issues with buildings being unlocked, and whose fault it is on whatever day was pushed back on us a lot. But at the end of the day, they weren't supervised, which is why we got inferior doors installed. And then when I chased that down, nobody wanted to hear me, and I got some ridiculous suggestions from various people. And I pushed on that really hard to try to get what we ordered. Which were very expensive doors. And I sort of took it to the cheek and said, okay, well, you don't win them all. And so we were just trying to get this tile finished, and we chased that around for a while.
And it was such a bad job that I can't even believe that they tried to get away with it. And apparently that's the way it goes, because they did get away with it.
Yeah, and I attribute it not only to poor quality workmanship, zero supervision, or very limited supervision beyond being given a key. So I agree.
All right.
So we're gonna figure out what's going on with the tile closeout. I mean, the good news is, we're all alive, and it's just tile, and it can be done. We're basically at the finish line there. So we'll figure out what's going to happen there, and we'll deal with it. So that's number 3 for the bathroom update. Number 4, the rear ADA entrance bid development. That's the next thing that we need to talk about. And I think in doing this, a couple of things have come up. One thing that's specific is, I believe that we need to have a meeting with all the key stakeholders, DPW, our team, town council team, liaison team, to talk about what went right and what went wrong, because there was definitely some stuff that went wrong. And we need everyone to sort of, and acknowledge that. And we also need to acknowledge what did go right, because we're in a good place. So that's good. Right. And just have an honesty conversation. But there's definitely some stuff when we get ready to spend another $50,000, which we're basically teed up and we've all approved to spend. We want it to go a different way. We want people to be supervised. We want
it to be better. We want better workmanship.
We want it done right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the big component of being done right is being supervised, being monitored. I mean, that which isn't, monitored, or, what do they say? That which is measured is monitored, or whatever the deal is. But
yeah, what though, Chris, these guys are supposed to be professional. We're going to monitor them and tell them that their tile work sucks.
Well, DPW should. I mean, that's what their job is.
Yeah,
their job is to oversee it, and not showing up and handing someone a key, and that should be part of our discussion.
Okay. So we think it's their job. Do they think it's their job?
Well, I'd venture to say that we should have a discussion, and
yeah, I think it's their job.
I think it's their job. It was discussed as their job. We had many meetings about this about a year ago. Before we did this, we had meetings with several town councilors and other people to say that we were concerned about supervision and we were concerned about neglect, and some of that has come true. And so, so I'm still very, very much concerned. As far as the rear ADA entrance, so we need to have the meeting before the rear ADA entrance thing goes. I did an audit of our account, and I got a balance, which appeared real obviously out of the gate to be the wrong number by 20 to 25,000. I spoke individually with various members of our committee during the day that I got this balance on the audit, and the audit was done to make sure we could move forward with the rear ADA doors, to make sure there was no surprises. There were surprises, like 25,000, actually more than that, of charges that were not done, by my opinion, correctly. And so I called Kevin Gill. So the first thing is we have enough money to move forward. So that's good. But then I sent him an email back and I said, in having our various conversations, we're pretty sure that we're off by 20 to 25,000. And I asked him for the audit, which was the second time I asked him for it, because I asked for the list initially and I got a, hey, does this look good? Question mark, which led me to believe that something was a little weird with it. When I looked at it, I found a charge to a company called Wilkinson for $26,499, and I found a change order for our thing for over $1,000. The change order is familiar to me in that I heard about it, but I never saw it. And I negotiated the change order down from $1,000 some odd dollars to like $600 or $800, but apparently that never went through. And somehow it got paid, which, given the amount of rigmarole I have to go through every time to get things paid, I don't understand how this didn't happen here.
Was so fast.
Somehow this one got paid without authorization, without review, or it wasn't reviewed by us, which is, as far as all things that, to lead to believe. And, they told me that they went ahead and did the work without stopping and doing the proper authorization, but somehow it got paid and they never even mentioned it to us. So that's a problem that we need to talk about. The bigger problem, I'm calling it a clerical error now, and I hope it is that we were charged $26,499 by a company called Wilkinson, which is a heating maintenance company. We've never received any communications about this. We do know that a new heating system was installed. However, we received zero communication about the fact it was being installed, about the fact that it was finished, about the fact that we potentially were on the hook for any costs. And going by precedent, what I will say is that we've never been charged for any, the heaters exploded a couple times over the years, and it's always been fixed and we've never been charged. So the idea that we were charged anything by this company right out of the gate is a flag. The idea that we were charged somehow $26,000, this is a very significant amount of money, that it was never mentioned to us and it happened in February, that's a significant problem. So I sent a message to Kevin Gill after I got the audit, and I pointed out the big charge, and then I found the secondary charge. And I sent him an email, and I copied our town councilor, our town liaison, and some other accounting folks, and said that it appears to be from the wrong account, because I know this vendor's been paid before when things have happened and we've never been charged. And the idea that we would be charged such a significant amount of money for something and never notified is just not realistic, not professional. It's not a lot of things that are what I consider ethical. So I pursued it just on the idea that it's been, charged incorrectly. And so I sent a note and I said, hey, this specific charge. And then I called him the next day. I called the town accountant the next day 3 times, left a message once and said, I want to talk about this. And there's another charge. And I want to know, what's going on here. Let's hopefully resolve this clerical error. And I never got a response. And I hate it when I don't get responses, because this happens often, unfortunately. So I got no response, and I waited. Everyone's busy. Everyone's doing lots of other stuff. So I gave it a week, and I sent another note today. I believe both of you were copied on the note. I think most, if not all, of the committee was copied on the note. Did everyone see it?
I didn't read it.
Okay.
I'm going to admit it. Today's the last day of school. I've been wrapped up.
Me too.
Yay. Okay.
Did you see it, Doug?
I did. I read it. Yes.
Okay. So, I tried to be, it's a lot of money. So it's hard to not get a little heated when I see that it looks like someone's, and we're being recorded, by the way. So just so that everyone knows, unfortunately, I'm going to say something that people might not like. I consider it the theft of almost $30,000 worth of arts funding. That's a pretty big deal.
You know what? It might not necessarily be the theft, but there was no discussion. Almost like, what are we doing? You're doing all the footwork, and then they're doing whatever the hell they want. And that's not supposed to be the way that things work, but that seems to be the way that things are working.
I agree.
Well, hopefully this was just a mistake and it gets corrected, and they'll realize that they can't just do that.
I would think so. I'm really trying to just call this a clerical error that just hasn't seen its way through. Because that's just way too much money to have never mentioned. I've never heard about it from the town administrator, so I assume he doesn't know. I haven't heard about it from our town council liaison, so I assume they don't know. I never heard about it from the DPW. I know that they know, but they never told me. Now, I don't know if they meant to bill us for it. If they did, shame on them for never talking to us. But if we assume it's a clerical error, shame on nobody. Please just make the adjustment, realize it, and do it. The DPW, manages 40 or 50 or more buildings in town. If this happened to Town Hall, if this happened to the Senior Center, if this happened to any of the other buildings that don't have an arts endowment and a grant and a committee that controls all their money, that money wouldn't have just been taken without discussing. You would never take money from someone's account and not tell them. So the fact that this has apparently happened means I hope it's a clerical error, because if it's not, then it's a problem. And part of something that we need to discuss, especially as we go on a future endeavor. We've got places to spend that money. And we've got, our bill for this thing is like 50 grand coming up. We have 10 or 15,000 over that. We should have more than 30. We're going to probably have a couple $1,000s in architecture fees, and I'm going to have to meet with DPW and the architect, and I'm going to have to go through this thing. It's going to be a real painful process to me, but during that painful process, I'm going to spend a couple $1,000, and then we need that other money for other things that we've already earmarked. We've got walls that can come down in the middle. We've got a great thing, but we're not going to find 30 grand. And it's also, it's reasonable to think that even, if this money went into our thing, that it comes out of a maintenance account. Aside from the lack of disclosure, it's just reasonable to think that that money would come out of a maintenance account. We have, again, 40, 50 buildings in town. This is the way it goes. This is the way things go. If something happened at the Hurd School, and all of a sudden we needed $40,000, $50,000, $30,000 at the Hurd School, there's no random budget that they can just go raid and not tell people. So we need to really straighten this out.
Well, only the school department has that, but
well, that's owned by the town now, though.
But well, at the very least,
yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, we're working with an architect. Did they put it in the right place?
No.
So I need to take something out of the oven. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So the big issue that we have here, Doug, and I know Joy can hear me from afar. The big issue that we have here is not only is this a large expense, is that it was done incorrectly. We have an elevator study that we've done. We've spent a lot of time in thinking about how things are done. We've asked for multiple levels of thermostats on our building to put $30,000, almost $30,000 worth of money directly in the way of our elevator, which we've analyzed with our architect of where it needs to go. It's 100% in the way of the cheapest elevator solution that we have. That's a problem. We would have moved it. We would have made strategic decisions. We would have talked to our architect. We would have asked for thermostats on all 3 floors. Right now, they basically put back in a really bad system. They put back in a system that basically heats the entire building without individual thermostats for each one. So if we're going to spend that kind of money, we would do it in a smart and intelligent way, where we would first not put it where our elevator is going to go. We would put thermostats on each floor. We'd put time thermostats to be, heating efficient. And we'll start off. We wouldn't put it where our elevator was going to go. And we may not even pick that same exact configuration. We have our architect who's gone over this, and we've talked about HVAC, and it could be a completely different system. We're only using 1 floor. We only need to heat 1 floor right now. We could have done this many different ways, but we were never made part of the discussion. And by virtue of not being part of the discussion, I can't realistically see this as something that's our obligation. And my optimistic view is that it will take a little bit of discussion, but we need to really pursue this as a clerical error, because anything but a clerical error doesn't look good for a lot of people who didn't communicate.
Well, because what are we doing? We're spinning our wheels, and they're doing whatever the hell they want.
Right.
Okay.
I've politely asked as much as I can. So I asked today, and you can reread that. I was very specific. I did not wander in my conversation. I asked a very specific question, about the one charge and the other charge, and asked, where the chain of authorization came from. And the response was that I should follow up with the town administrator after a town meeting. That's okay. However, I would like to follow up in the form of, a subcommittee or various members of our committee to talk about this.
Idea.
There's a lot of,
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So we're going to ask. We'll wait
Enough
for town
said.
meeting. What's that?
Enough said. That's a good idea.
Right. So we'll have a group discussion because
Yeah.
it really needs to come out
It does.
what the deal is. Because if it's just a, hey, just forget about this, that's not okay. So anyway, so we've got enough money to do the thing. We need to have a meeting about these charges. It's not going to stop us either way, because we're going to go forward. And guess what? If we run out of money, well, you're picking up the tab because but we
Well,
need to
then,
pay.
yeah, then we just need to get some more.
But it's just too much money to say, yeah, we'll do the rollover. You know what I mean? And the other one was the authorization, the change notification, just the mere fact that no process was followed. And I'm really disappointed in that when I asked the question, I've really been dodged 2 or 3 times. That's just the fact.
Well, I think that gives you the answer right there.
Okay, well.
Yeah, but we can't just let it go.
Absolutely.
No, but they're dodging you because of the obvious reasons.
Right.
And I think we need to get it out on the table. We need to say what the rules of engagement are. We need to say, don't touch our money. We spent a lot of time on this. So, we need to talk it out. Anything else? So town meeting's going to happen. Another thing. So I talked to Mayreen regarding how we talked this out. And she had also told me last week, because I did make her aware that there was a snafu and that I was hoping to have it fixed by the end of last week, which didn't happen. So I did communicate with her and let her know that, this is a thing, and, and she's copying on everything. So, and then, if they were going to take money from the thing, again, she's in charge, so she should at least be notified. So she knows it's up there, but she said that they're redoing the town council liaisons, and potentially we may end up with another new liaison. So, but it might be her, it might not be her. And she suggested that if it's not her, that we do sort of a handoff meeting with whoever the new person is. And I think that's a great idea. And it may, all this stuff might be all lumped together with that. So we don't know yet if there's going to be a new person, but she said that it's possible. So if there is a new person, that person will be in on the conversation. If there's not a new person, it'll be probably Ms. Santos, Maureen, and a group from our committee. Cool. All right. Upcoming programming ideas, quarantine photo show for the fall, ideas in that realm. Joy, I looked at your stuff. It looks awesome. Those virtual.
Thank you.
things.
Yeah.
It took a little bit to load, and I didn't get to look at it for a couple of days, but I did send you a note after I finally did.
Yes, you did. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, this is cool. So how do we, how do we do that? Do we just, is that
Well,
something we link,
I'm
or?
putting together a whole kind of a what have we been doing since March?
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna have I'm just about done with it, and I'm gonna put it on our website.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put something in the paper, and then I'm thinking that we can use the cultural exchange to do, because we've got interviews with the AP art kids talking about their work.
That's cool.
And then we've got a couple of different virtual art exhibits. And what else do we have? We just have some news, and, I'm just trying to pull together what everybody's done and to get it out there. But I mean, it's the best, it's the best we can do with what we're looking at.
Yeah, definitely. Any content, anything, I think it's important for us to just sort of maintain, that whole sort of cultural economy leadership type thing. So we need to.
So I think I can have
content.
everything pulled together for you by Friday. Today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday. Last day of school. Yay. But I think I should have everything pulled together by Friday.
Okay. And then we'll figure out we'll just be basically pumping it through our social media is the plan, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does take a while. It does take a while to load, but once it loads, it runs pretty decent, I think. I've tried it on a couple of different computers, like a couple of different people, have people run through it and see how it goes.
Right.
And it seems to be okay.
Okay.
Well, it's got to be okay, because that's the best I got.
So I definitely think we should do that. And,
Okay.
that seems really, that's.
I'll send you the link. I mean, Doug, if you're interested to
Sure.
see it, it's a virtual art gallery where I've set it up so you walk through it and
Awesome.
you can see the art.
That's
Yeah.
great.
I think it looks great. The kids love it. Their parents loved it. But then the other one that I did was the Getty Challenge.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll send you that one too, Doug. But what that is, the Getty Museum put out a challenge where they wanted you to select a famous work of art and then recreate it using your family members or your pets. So I have that as well. And I was thinking that might be a challenge that we could do, that we could throw out, because I had talked to the item about that, and they're on board with throwing out a challenge to have the community, anybody in the community who wants to give it a shot.
So you're saying we'll do the Getty Art Challenge through ACE? And
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the item is on board, so I mean they'd help publicize it and.
So do we do a different one every week, or how does that work? Is that like a multi-week thing where we like do it throughout the summer? Or?
I don't know. That's where I kind of stalled on it because I was just caught up with trying to figure out how to teach on,
Should we do with the library, or I mean, what's his who is it? The guy from the library has been doing the Getty Challenge and posting this, but Jeff.
Oh, I didn't know that. He's
been doing a lot of Getty Art Challenges, like his own version. Like it's not a library program, but I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I'll send you some of his stuff. He's done a ton of those. So I think it's a great idea. If we did it, maybe we did it week to week and just give people something to do for the next little bit.
Well, and then the other thing too is, though, I think we should include the item because we are being recorded, and I'm just going to say this anyways. When I see a rabbit on the front page of the newspaper, that's when I think that maybe they need some more content. Just saying. A rabbit.
I mean, we've done well with them in the past, and they always, and they're always willing to partner. So
yeah.
All right, so we can figure that out. I don't think we need to beat it out here, but I just like the idea of just maintaining our leadership with the creative economy. That's a big thing. Is we need to put things out there. We've done photo contests in the past. Remember, we did the 4th of July photo contest. Yep. We did a few other things, and the whole I think that's,
and maybe maybe we could do we could release one thing at a time, like with the AP show or with the virtual gallery shows, and then do the Getty Challenge, and then maybe it doesn't have to be a virtual walkthrough. Maybe it could just be the kind of thing where week to week people might submit things, and then we could just post them on our site
just for that week.
Yeah.
But in the I would like to include the paper as well. So in the paper and on our site, so to see more, go to just kind of try to tie the whole thing together. Because some people, I don't know. Do you guys get the paper?
I don't anymore, but it was because
I mean, not that many people get the paper. I do. But then, so it could be on the paper for those people, and then it could be on our site or on Facebook or what.
Sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
Really, it's a lot of fun. I mean, people who come up, I mean, the kids came up with some good stuff. There's a lot of creation of it's like, oh, okay, all right. But then there were some really good ideas. So
it's always good if we could find prizes, which from local businesses will be a hard thing, but if we could find some way to incorporate some sort of incentive into it. But I think it's great.
Yeah.
So let's keep talking about that.
Okay.
We'll keep going on our schedule. Tandem to that. Do we want to experiment with the idea of having any kind of show? And by show, the way that I would see a show is if we had an idea, like if it was like artwork during COVID-19 or some sort of theme where people could, kind of like the Lake Show. If we were going to do that, we've got the new hangars, which is another item that we have on here. But let's just say that all the hangars are up. We've got one more set to do. Like in theory, because I want to use the building. if at all possible. If we had people drop stuff off, if we were going to have a show like in August or September, say, and it was about what did you do during COVID, and we accepted the artwork and we did the whole gallery, we could either do a virtual gallery with walkthroughs, or we could schedule people. We could say, all right, hey, we're going to do a show. It's going to last 5 weeks because you're going to drop off this week. We set everything up and we have the whole place set up, and maybe we don't have to go ahead to have people come in, but we maybe, we can book small groups. Maybe we can book groups of 5 people to come in and look at everything in September or so, doing it. Now we'd have to have a theme. We'd have to approach and talk about, what people are comfortable with us, doing. But I mean, we've got the building still sitting there, and it's got brand new bathrooms in it. So if anybody needs to go to the bathroom while they're there, they'll be okay. But it could be a virtual thing. It could be, or it could be we schedule groups to do it. So it's just, the idea is that, like, again, taking the leadership on just, keeping that creative economy going. I think with the Getty art thing and doing that sort of stuff, that sort of does that. But as we get towards the fall, if we're not able to open at full capacity, can we open with stuff, small groups?
Well, the school department, we're waiting on the commissioner of education.
Yeah.
And supposedly he's going to be coming out maybe next week, if not the week after that, like, what's school going to look like? And I think that if we, I know everything doesn't revolve around school, but we can kind of take the lead off of that to see what are we going to do? Like, how's that going to work with crowds and stuff? I mean,
Right.
We're never really that crowded.
Right.
But I don't want to go through planning something that is just going to be fall flat on its face because I don't know. I'm not in a good place for the whole thing right now. So, yeah.
Well, with the idea of the Getty Challenge and your virtual things and stuff like that, that sort of puts us with stuff to do and the stuff to throw out there. Whereas, I was looking at this before we met, a week or two ago, and I was just saying that, what are we going to do to continue to be the leaders, to be out there? And I was like, we either got to do
maybe the Arts Collaborative could do a show about, what did you do during COVID?
Yeah.
Maybe the Arts Collaborative could take the lead on that, because we've kind of stalled there too.
That'd be great.
We basically meet to plan events.
Right. I think that'd be, so why don't we pitch it towards Kathy of when is the Arts Collaborative meeting again? Are they?
We haven't been meeting.
So we should connect and figure out what's going on with that. And then just, and if at a bare minimum, we could just pitch this idea with the idea of September-ish, depending on what happens. And and again, if we're severely restricted, we could do small tours but just at least putting an idea out there. Maybe we say we're going to do small tours, and then in 2 months' time, the world's changed again and we can't. But maybe we can.
We can't be apart forever.
Yeah.
Right?
I think once there's a vaccine.
Every time I say something like that, though, it's like, oh, we're going to go back to school. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out. The other thing that I had out there on the list, and it's on the number 10, was just the Made in Wakefield artist store online directory thing. That's just more of these, I kind of have these where I add these agenda items where it's sort of the same sort of thing of, Arts Collaborative, getting stuff out there, trying to, use that as our in-house, arts portfolio to get stuff out there, but I know that various people have stores with various success rates. And if the idea is that sometime probably, through with the leadership of the Arts Collaborative, we were to have a Made in Wakefield or art type store, that'd be great. How does that take form? It gets complicated. Who does what on Etsy, who does what on this platform, that platform. It still seems to be varying. Facebook and Instagram are coming out with this thing called shops, but everybody, at least most of the people I know, like my girlfriend included, who chimes into me all the time, a lot of them just want to, sell their stuff to buy more stuff to keep making art. You know what I mean? They don't even need to make any money, but they want to sell stuff. So
because where do you keep it all?
Well, that's I I was through your neighborhood earlier today, going up and down Pleasant Street. There's all kinds of stuff out. She's like, stop. And I'm like, no room for more stuff. I've got
Trash night. It's trash night.
Yeah, trash night. But just, maybe we'll throw that over to an arts collaborative, conversation of, hey, let's talk about a COVID-19 type show. And or, at some point, just, the centralized marketplace that, if we had such a thing, we could link it to it or whatever. It's, I like to keep that idea out there. But I have nothing more to say on it now. We talked about the picture hanger installation. Doug, me and you talked about this offline.
Yeah, I'll try and do that this weekend, probably Saturday.
All right.
You don't need the hammer, whatever.
No, because this is going into sheetrock.
Okay. So that's much easier.
Yes.
All right.
It's a hammerhead shark. It's a hammerhead. All right, so you'll get that done.
You just got home. Yeah.
Tell him we're assigning projects to him already.
Yeah, you got projects there, sweetie.
Okay, so one of the items on here, which is just sort of a carryover, is the post-bathroom construction celebrate. We'll do that when we know that we're going to open, but I'll keep that as an item. In Wakefield, we talked about that. Doug says he'll do the picture hanger thing, so that's all you, Doug. If you need help or people, I need to get you the hanger stuff, but I'll bring it down tonight or tomorrow.
I'm probably not going to do it till Saturday, so whenever.
Okay. So we'll get it done before we meet next time, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So something that's not on here that I mentioned to some people was Paul Rivas, the town planner, is retiring at the end of this month, and so I'm trying to think of something nice we can do for him. I don't really know what form that takes. At a bare minimum, thank you for getting writing grant requests for us to do art studies and other stuff. What do you call it? And I think I'll probably send a note to the town council. I hope somebody recognizes him because he's a super smart dude. He's done a lot for the town. He's done a lot for us. He was super excited when we did all our stuff with the elevator and all that stuff that we have going on now, just because he knows how hard it is to push this stuff through.
Yeah. So it's the end of this month?
Yeah.
All right. Because we should recognize him in some way because he has done quite a bit.
And the thing is too, he's not leaving Wakefield. I talked to him the other day. He moved actually to Wakefield. He used to live in Medford. He lives down in Greenwood now by Dockside, and he's hanging around for a while. So, as much as like to do it soon,
right.
If it's soon meaning this summer soon, I'm sure that'd be okay. Like I don't know, anything from just a nice thank you letter, a certificate, a picture.
Right.
Just a something.
Think on that. Yeah. Think on that.
Yeah, I think some token of appreciation.
Right.
Would be good.
Because he's never said no to anything. You know what I mean? Like, hey, can you help with this? Can you help with that? Never said no. And I think he's really thrilled with what we have. And so as he talks to people and doing stuff, I think he's one of our biggest fans. So. And we're one of his biggest fans. So yeah, whatever we come up with there.
Maybe he would consider being a consultant.
That could be an idea. I told him to join the board. He's a Wakefield resident at this point. You know what I mean? He could be on our.
He might not want to do that because he's retiring, but maybe we could. Like retiring is retiring, just saying. So maybe he might, agree to consult or.
Yeah. And we'll definitely see him, for sure. Because he said, I'm not going away. I'll be at events. I'll be at, whatever. Yep. I'll be checking things out.
Yep.
So that's that. I don't have anything else. Next week, we could talk, offline or whatever, but in various ways, we need to put together some sort of a meeting with, some town councilors and town administrator and just get everything that's on board. I'd love to have, at a bare minimum, me, Joy, Kathy, Doug, you guys for sure, because you're, on the heartbeat of everything. If anybody else can make it, great, but you guys are really tight on everything. We're all really tight on everything. We've been here a long time. So I definitely would like to take a back seat to this and just, have a discussion flow. I've written all the documentation around it, so, I'm pretty familiar.
You know what?
with what's going on.
Kathy's not here. So I'm going to
Volunteer, Kathy.
I'm going to nominate her for creating the outline of our presentation.
I second that nomination.
Right?
Well, I mean, what I think might be appropriate is actually though for her to initiate and take the discussion over.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've identified, I've audited, I've put everything out there. All the facts are what they are.
And let's let her do what she does best.
Yeah.
And then we can fill in where it's necessary.
Well, I think she would be a good person, to take control of the situation and to, really just, shake out answers.
Yep. Good idea.
Great idea.
Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yay. All right.
Anybody else have anything?
I don't think so.
So I'll send you the link, Doug.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The Getty Challenge, and then I'll send you the other the virtual exhibit, and you can just check it out. But I think the Getty Challenge might be kind of fun, especially if we do it in conjunction with the item.
Yeah.
And then it kind of brings together the paper readers and the online people, and we could try to be a community.
With that's something that, could be like a whole summer thing, because it's like you could do it week to week and you could do a picture a week. Like this week's picture is this week's picture is that.
Yeah. And that's something that I'd be willing to like put together, because I think it's fun enough that I would do that like week to week to stay on top of it.
Yeah. And I'll brainstorm a little bit. If we can get some money attached to it, people, people love that. We're not going to hit anybody up for money because nobody's got any. But but there's always ways to figure things out. You know what I mean? There's a lot of downtown promotion. There's a 10 businesses in 10 days going on downtown right now. There's a lot of people with goodwill to fund those types of things. So if we can attach onto that.
Actually, there is a lot of goodwill. I mean, the parade committee or whoever is doing that is putting together grants to small business. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right? I mean,
I think it's parade people, and it's
Paul Donaco is part of that.
Yeah.
And putting it together, and they're giving like grants to small businesses, which is really quite, it's usually, people are asking the small business for money, and now they're asking the small business if they want money, which is quite nice at this time.
I think it's definitely good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have good hearts. So if they get that stuff together and do it right, I'm all for it.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks everybody, and we'll talk more digitally about Getty Art and schedules and that sort of stuff, and then we'll talk to Kathy about her spearheading our discussions and moving forward conversations.
Yep.
And then once we sort of figure that stuff out, I'll send everyone a notice when our next meeting is. It's 4th of July next month. Actually the first Wednesday is July 1st, but we'll just see how things go. Could be July 1st, could be July 8th, who knows?
This is easy. This is easier than physically being in the building, so.
Right, and it works, as long as the link works.
Hey, yep. Yeah, well, you're right. You know what? We're learning.
I don't know what happened. I mean, it didn't work for me either, and I tested in. The only thing that was different, and this wasn't even really different, was just, I had started the meeting, I clicked into it at 3:00 last time.
That was the problem. Because I've done that. I did that
too. I clicked
too.
in. That was the first time. And then last time I didn't do anything until meeting time. And then today I clicked in at 3:00 to make sure it was working.
Yeah.
It was.
It's almost easier if you send out the link at 6:58.
Yeah,
as
probably a good
opposed
idea.
to like, no, truly, as it just, in my experience, it's just like, you tell people to look for the link and then they find it, and then
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
we'll get better at this.
Yeah,
I like meeting like this. I think it's way easier.
I do too.
so much more convenient.
Yeah,
And the meeting minutes are kind of automatically done.
there you
Yeah.
go.
You
Well,
know what
I
I mean?
don't think Kathy will
Because-
agree, but
Well, I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm more than happy to give her the recorded link so she can submit the minutes to the meeting.
All
she
right.
wasn't
Sounds
all
good.
right.
there. All right.
We'll
Talk to you
talk.
later.
All right, thank you.
No worries.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.